Thank you so much to today's awesome Patreon sponsors, Brigadis, Folkbear, and Dr. Dread. Hello everyone, my name is AndrewAJT. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. So I was planning on doing probably a bossing video this week. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a wrist flare-up, which was not very fun. Feeling a little better now, but I did want to talk about this Steam thing anyways, so we could definitely do that today. In fact, I actually just watched the Q&A recently about this, and they actually addressed so many topics in it, which I thought was very interesting. I will link it down below. I recommend you watch it, as well as the new Gielinor Gazette. I actually took a lot of notes, so I want to go over some of those now. So in the blog post, they mentioned the fishing boss would be postponed, which I agree with. They also talked about updating older minigames rather than adding new ones, and this is pretty much exactly what I was saying a few weeks ago in my video. I don't know if they got the idea from me. I certainly wasn't the only one suggesting this, but it doesn't really matter. I'm very happy to see this because I'm very much looking forward to some of these minigames getting updates. So of course the big news talked about in the blog and also on the stream was OSRS coming to Steam. Now unfortunately they didn't really get into too many specifics of how this is going to work other than if you look at RuneScape 3, that's coming to Steam actually fairly soon, in just a few weeks, whereas OSRS is launching in early 2021. And they talk about in the blog post that they want to improve their technology and their tools before the game is released, and basically they want to make the game better before it is ready for Steam, which does make sense. I think there's going to be a lot of temporary hype and news around this when it actually happens, so I do agree that it's really important to make it perfectly ready rather than rushing it. In the blog post, they mention improving the game client, tackling bots, and also fixing some login and connectivity issues, which I think are very important to address before we introduce the game to a whole new audience. Personally, I'm very happy about the news of Old School coming to Steam because I know for myself that I didn't find RuneScape by somehow finding RuneScape.com. I found RuneScape by playing games on Miniclip, and RuneScape was the #1 game, and that is how I found it, and so many other people found it. So you could have a very similar situation if Old School is popular on Steam. In the live stream, they did also mention that Steam would be optional, and it would be subscription-based still without microtransactions, which is all very good news. Now, the big thing that we really don't know yet is how the clients are going to work. Will it be compatible with RuneLite, or is there going to be so many improvements to the normal client that we wouldn't even need RuneLite? As convenient as it would be to play on Steam, I don't think I would want to do it if I had to sacrifice the ability to use all the RuneLite plugins, which are so nice to have. So maybe they're planning on adding a lot of them to the normal clients, or maybe they could do some sort of collaboration or partnership with RuneLite. We really don't know, so I'm very curious to hear what their solution is for this question. They talk about in the blog that they really have to keep a lot of this secret, and even the reasons why it is being kept secret are a secret themselves, so it's like secretception, I guess. I don't know why, because we don't know the reasons, but I'm assuming we will learn these as time goes on. And maybe they will actually be influenced by feedback as well. So I'm confident and cautiously optimistic that this will go well. One big advantage I saw with this is maybe it will allow you to potentially message people who are offline now on your friends list. So maybe if you want to organize PVM better, or if you have a friend that quits, but maybe you want to keep in touch with them, it will be easier to do so now. I'm also curious if you could use a controller for RuneScape now. I'm not sure how well that would even work, but for some PC games, I use an Xbox 360 controller. Even though I've never had an Xbox in any form, it's a very convenient controller to use because it's USB, and maybe there could be some sort of integration there for mini games or something, or to left click, or who knows, but that would be a cool feature. Now, they did actually cover several other topics. One was account security, specifically referring to the live stream. They said that they share our frustration on this. Some improvements have been made. They said they're doing everything they can, and we're going to see a resolution to this. Mod Kieran also talked about how it takes specific expertise to solve some of these problems, which I can understand. In the live stream, I did feel that they were genuinely concerned about account security. I've talked a lot about this recently, and I just hope that we will see some more actual results pretty soon. We'll have to see. They also talked about anti-cheating and how they ban 7 million accounts per year, which is pretty amazing to think about. I've never really had a problem with this because it seems like everyone who bots does get banned eventually, so I think they've done pretty well with this. One thing I found interesting was they talked about the polling system and how they actually can look at analytics from the votes. So from my understanding, they could, for example, see how people with a different total level might vote on a question. It's very interesting to think about, and there's probably a lot of interesting data they could get from that. Recently, I've noticed there's a lot of people talking about how polls should be restricted to certain groups, and we've already seen this with Ultimate Iron Man. Personally, I don't like this. I would say just have everyone vote on everything. And you could always make selective integrity changes, for example, fixing the entangle spell. This failed a couple polls at least because non-PKers would always vote no to it, but they ended up buffing it anyway and it worked out just fine. They also mentioned the clan system rework should happen in 2021. I don't know if they're still going to do the clan summit thing. Maybe they could do it virtually, I don't know. But I would love to give my input on the clan system and how to improve it. And the last thing to mention is they also talked about importing content from RuneScape 3, and they seem to be referring more to pre-EOC stuff, because when I first heard importing stuff from RuneScape 3, I was like, no thank you. But it seems like they're more talking about things like Fist of Guthix or Penguins, maybe shooting stars or stealing creation. And I think these would all be amazing additions to Old School, actually. Especially Fist of Guthix and Stealing Creation. Those minigames were simply very fun to play. Both of those I played so much back in the day, especially Fist of Guthix, because you could play it on both free-to-play and members. It supplied runes for you. It was very unique, and there was a lot of strategy to it. It's really great. I wish they would add it to Old School very soon. I know they're working on Soul Wars, but really that doesn't appeal to me so much. I mean, it would be cool and all, but I would much rather have Fist of Guthix. So those are my thoughts on the blog and also the Q&A live stream. I'm only paraphrasing the things they mentioned, and I also didn't talk about everything they talked about. So I definitely recommend checking out the live stream and the blog yourself. You can find both down below. After reading it and hearing it myself, I do feel a little bit more confident about the way the game is going into 2021. And I do think it is actually going to be quite sustainable. At least in the next few years, I think we're going to see a good player base stick around. Also, just on a personal note, I want to thank you guys so much for the support recently throughout this entire year. It's been a tough year for everyone, for all of us, but making these videos has been really a bright spot, and being able to upload them every week and entertain you guys, if I can, is really nice to me to think about, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And just thank you so much again for the support and sticking around video after video. It really means a lot to me, and we're also getting very close to 30k subs, which is very exciting. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, and sub if you haven't already. You can join my clan chat up on screen, my Discord down below. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram down below. And if you would like to support the channel even further, you can check out my Patreon page in the end screen. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next week.